This wasn't just a film, it was a conspiracy theory magnet. From the origins of the concept to the government confiscation of the film, a slasher fest contained all the hallmarks of a cursed film.
My father was a poet. He told me it was the scariest thing he had ever written. And he was determined to put it on film, to unmask it for everyone, is how he said it. But he had never been a filmmaker, or let alone try to make a movie before in his life.
Out of 53 years of being in the agency, this was the most cryptic case.
Out of the many strange happenings that plagued the franchise, the original film's history is one that is very arcane. Filmed in 1969, Slasher Face was a script written by Rosario de la Cruz, later to become one of the most niche slasher films of the genre. But according to his son, Rosario wasn't the one who created the dark lore that the story was based on.
I remember as a kid my father walked into the house, covered in blood and smelling of alcohol. The next day, Dad had gone to the flea market and bought this old typewriter. He didn't leave that thing for days. When he finally came out of his room, he had a full manuscript. The original title was Informis Diaboli. What scared me the most about it was that after he was done, he went into the backyard and started a fire in the ground. I saw him throw an old-looking book into the fire. The whole thing went up into a green flame. I remember it vividly.
Informis Diaboli, which is Latin for faceless demon, devil. He sold that script to an independent production company in Mexico, but after 6 days, he was found hanged from the bridge on that border. They deemed it suicide, but his face was completely missing.
This was just the beginning of the evil that this film produced.
One of the producers actually owned a little strip club down in one of those like dirty Mexican, towns down by the border. And supposedly, the whole film was filmed in that one location. But nobody really knows who the cast, crew, not even how it was produced. That's like crazy. It's like one of those mystery files movies or something. That's what really got me into it. One
of the only accounts is from a witness who showed up to be an extra on this film. Auspiciously, she got away unharmed.
I never got a script for the film. And, they told me to meet there at the club. When I got there, the doors were locked and I could hear screams. I remember the screams scared me so much because they sounded so real. I was so young, out of place. I keep reminding myself that they were just filming a movie.
That's what started this whole underground horror fandom. The mystery behind it, the cover-ups, it's just a horror fan's fantasy. The story is, the cast and crew of this film have never come forth or have all gone missing. It's like they all got whacked. Anyway, nobody knows how the film got to the theater. Someone who worked there at the time would tell people that it was like Mexican cartel. cartel or some shit. I don't know.
It was apparently so graphic that people were leaving the theater and they thought it was so real that they ended up sending it to the cops, and the cops confiscated it, and no one has seen it except for that one time.
There was a modest showing at the premiere of Slasher Face. Even though there had been no promotion for the film, the title seemed to have captured curious local horror fans by word of mouth alone.
It's so vile. It's the most disgusting.
I feel like it was real. It looked real. Something happened. That was real. Somebody died.
What got the FBI involved was the fact that at the same time the film premiered, the strip club that it had been filmed at burned to the ground, erasing any chance of criminal investigation.
A local fireman was killed trying to put out that fire. The other volunteer firemen at the time claimed that the fire just wouldn't die, like it was something supernatural. They never found the cause of the fire either. No signs of electrical malfunction, no signs of an arsonist. There were several reports given to the Bureau during the premiere of that movie because of the death in the film. We got a couple reports from locals that had just watched the movie. We thought it was just, weak stomachs that couldn't tolerate the over-the-top gore that some of these horror films produce. So we didn't pay any mind to the complaints. But once we saw the film, we understood their concern. We confiscated the footage as evidence.
Several documentary teams pursued an attempt to recover the footage using the Freedom of Information Act, but very little is available. The FBI evidence of the investigation was destroyed during an attack on the courthouse that was housing the footage. The location remains confidential.
Molotov cocktails. Remains of Molotov cocktails is what was found in the debris of that courthouse. No witnesses, no tracks. We knew it was arson. We just never found out who or how many people were involved. It was after hours in a small town, so the courthouse was empty. So no one was injured, but a lot was destroyed. Fortunately, the film was too.
So you can't get it, and that's the reason why everyone wants it. But there is pieces of the film that were released.
A few clips of the film were able to be recovered, but the complete film itself is lost forever.
Yeah, I knew all the stories from the first slasher face film. That's why I was pretty amazed when I heard they were going to try to do another one.
So Slasher Face 2, it was shot here in my town, Austin, Texas. And all I know about that movie is that it was an independent company ended up writing this entire different script.
The Austin film community was booming in the early 80s. There were no shortages of scripts and star film companies. There was one script in particular which found its way to an underground production company, and the rest is history.
And what they did with that is they made this movie, but people started actually dying during the film process.
After 6 days of filming, the lead actor committed suicide during her scene by letting herself fall from a historic moon tower in Austin, Texas. Her castmates told the police that she couldn't get the sound of grinding teeth out of her hair.
We got word. We went out there, look around, investigate. Got there the day after the suicide. Yeah, they ruled that a suicide, even though that poor girl's face was ripped clean off. We couldn't find no evidence of any foul play. They were going to use her fall in the actual movie. Yeah. They had permission. Because it turns out that actors have to fill out this release form. Anyway, this form specifically stated that they could do anything they wanted to with that footage, even if the actor was to quit or die. Anyway, FBI stepped in and they confiscated all the footage. Evidence, I guess. They were not happy about that. The cast and the crew.
Even though very little of the movie was filmed, the concept was about an ancient Mexican folklore, claiming that certain lyrics or melodies in a song can summon demons. When a punk rock concert summons Informis Diaboli, it terrorizes a group of punk rockers during a backstage party.
There is a copy out there of what they had, but it's been like, the VHS tape has just been ran through so many times.
Every once in a while, you'll see a vendor at a horror convention selling some fan-made slasher face merch, but it's mostly part 2 stuff that you'll see out there. That's the movie that I saw on an illegal VHS that was floating around back in the 90s, and I wish that we could easily make copies of shit like we can now. I would love to have the only release film of the franchise on VHS.
I still don't have it. I have a lot of movies, but I don't have that one, and that's one I've been looking for a long time.
In 1988, I owned a VHS store on the res. We had a person donate a box of movies, and in that box, I found Slasher Face 2. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even know there was a part 1. It was very fuzzy, and the tracking on the VCR couldn't fix it. I remember scenes from Austin, Texas, lots of gore, lots of nudity.
I want to see it, obviously. This whole, like, it's weird that there's this, like, cult following for a movie that no one's really even seen.
Back in the day, there was no YouTube or Google, so we couldn't research it. There was nothing we could do. We just tossed it. Like, I didn't need it.
It's out there somewhere in some creepo's gun safe or some shit. I know it is. So if anybody out there in the interwebs has it, please, please send it to me.
Now that I know the worth of it, I wish I kept it.
I want to see Slasher Face 3.
I'm stupid stoked for Slasher Face 3 to come out.
I know I've heard about all sorts of movies before that when they're filming, weird stuff happens. This was one of those films.
So whenever I saw that it was Slasher Face 3, I had seen number 2 in the 90s, but I forgot all about it. And so then I'm looking at this script and it's Slasher Face 3, and I couldn't believe it. So of course I jumped at the chance to be involved in the project.
I was stoked. I mean, I read the script, it was amazing, and then I started looking back at all the history behind it, and I'm not saying it was a mistake, but we went through a lot of crap. A lot of crap. Like, I can't believe we even got this film made.
We get on set, first day on set, I walk into this house. This is supposed to be the metalhead's house, and there are these satanic symbols all over the house. I guess Raz had given a bunch of the actors spray paint and was just like, go ham, you guys are at a party, like make it kind of fun, maybe you can you know, put bands' names on there or symbols or whatever you guys want to do. But for some reason, people felt so inclined to do all of these satanic symbols.
Yeah, it has definitely seemed like we have been cursed since we started the film. I mean, we started filming. We'd get some scenes done. Some actors or actresses would flake out. We'd have to refill those roles, go and reshoot those scenes.
I'm not super religious, but I do feel like there's power in certain symbols.
A worldwide pandemic then breaks out, as you know. People are getting COVID, people are getting sick, and we have to cancel shoots left and right. Of course, we're trying to be careful the whole time. There was, I believe, 3 car wrecks from our cast and crew the entire time that we were filming. 2 of those cars, I believe, were completely totaled. Very bad accidents.
There was a lot of really bizarre things that happened. I think, namely car accidents.
There were several, I think 4 accidents to and from set. But these were not just little tiny fender benders. I mean, this was big, full-on, totaled car situations.
4 of us, I believe, like right in a row on the way to the filming location, got into car accidents. In the span of like 2 weeks, there was like 4 different car accidents. One of the cars even caught fire, and one of the accidents was mine, and it was a very, very startling experience.
I mean, that's weird. And for that to happen once is already like, whoa, oof, intense. But then it kept happening.
I was on my way to set when, next thing I know, there's smoke coming from the hood. I opened the hood. I thought it was the radiator at first. I opened the hood and there's fire in there.
So yeah, we were a little bit freaked out, even to just get on the road and drive.
I don't want to say that I think that the Slasher Face franchise is cursed, but it's definitely something that I wouldn't be surprised about either, just based on the nature of the production. I think sometimes when you're dealing with dark elements like that it attracts dark elements. So I'm not completely opposed to thinking that, yeah, it could be.
You know, you're conjuring up some darkness if you're focusing all of your energy on like a dark storyline, and then you're creating blood and all this like gnarly stuff. I mean, think about what you're putting out there. I don't know. So yeah, after a couple weeks, Raz, the producer, writer, bought some sage and asked me and Jenna, the makeup artist, to do just like a little ridding of the dark energy that we all felt.
We had just a barrage of things that just kept trying to stop us. But that's one of the things that I can definitely remember. And I don't know if it was something about the house we were shooting in or what it was, but it was definitely, things were just off.
It got to the point where Jenna, each time we filmed, had to sage the house. It was kind of crazy.
There was just like one thing after another that kept feeling like stacking up weirder and weirder, and it got to a point where you're almost just like, yeah, of course, like, of course that's happening right now.
I also had a fever that no doctor and a 10-day stint in the hospital could not explain. They never figured it out, and it was all the way up to 104. Just a really weird fever that nobody could figure out what was going on, and to this day we still don't know. But I find it really odd that it happened during the shooting of Slasher Face.
Because like all this other weird stuff was happening, I couldn't help but feel that it was like we were attracting some of this intense energy towards us.
It's been a hell of a thing. There was that freeze. We had that big freeze that shut us down for a good couple of weeks. We had to reschedule all kinds of stuff because of that.
Right after we began filming with Ilsa Ryan, there was a freak snowstorm that kept her trapped here in Texas for another like 3 weeks.
The roof of my shop caved in during an ice storm. We had a big ice storm that delayed production.
Now, I'm not saying it's because of Slasher Face, but it definitely during this time felt pretty weird that we're in the middle of a pandemic and then Texas gets a snowstorm.
So the roof collapsed. Everything was ruined. Everything that I had, all my equipment and all of the supplies for the rest of the film predominantly. And so I had to remake several things. and it just slowed us down.
Filming just kept getting pushed back and back and back.
I wound up shattering my knee and broke my kneecap in 6 places. So that prevented me from being able to work on the most important special effects scene of the entire movie.
It's like something in the cosmic universe did not want us to finish filming this movie, and it was getting very frustrating because we all were very excited for it to be finished.
All kinds of shit, man. It's like it's the film Jesus doesn't want you to see.
Up next is the gory and gruesome work of Oresmo Vasquez, Slasher Face 3. Whew. Let me tell you, I watched some of the extra footage that was sent to me. Should not have eaten lunch first. So I'm gonna go vomit and you guys watch the trailer. Excuse me.
A group of headbangers in Texas have no idea. An ancient slayer from beyond the Mexican border is coming to kill them all.
Who the fuck died?
No one knows who will be next.
It's not fair.
And no one has ever lived to describe the terror. Slasher Face